What if even the strongest friendships can break under pressure? What if two people, both committed to the same mission, the same faith, the same purpose, still can't agree? And what if separation isn't always failure, but part of a bigger plan? After the powerful decision in Jerusalem, things seemed clear. The message of grace had been protected, the church was growing, unity had been restored around one core truth: salvation through Jesus alone. And in the middle of that momentum, Paul made a simple suggestion. Let us go back and visit the believers in all the towns where we preach the word of the Lord and see how they are doing. It sounds like a good idea. Responsible, caring, intentional. Not just starting churches, but checking on them, strengthening them, walking alongside them. Barnabas agreed with the mission, but then a disagreement surfaced. Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark. Paul did not. And this wasn't a small difference in preference. This was personal. Because earlier, on their first journey, John Mark had left them. He had turned back. For reasons we're not fully told, he didn't continue with the mission. And Paul remembered that. To Paul, the journey ahead required commitment, reliability, endurance. He wasn't willing to risk bringing someone who had already stepped away once. But Barnabas saw it differently. He saw potential. He saw restoration. He believed in giving Mark another chance. Two perspectives, both understandable, both grounded in something real. One focused on trust built through consistency, the other focused on grace and second chances. And neither one was completely wrong, but they couldn't agree. The disagreement became sharp, not just a quiet difference, but strong enough to separate them. And this is where the story becomes deeply human, because we often expect people of faith to always agree, to always find a peaceful resolution, to always move forward together. But that's not what happened here. Paul and Barnabas parted ways. Two men who had traveled together, faced danger together, preached together, seen lives change together, now going in different directions. Barnabas took Mark and sailed for Cyprus. Paul chose Silas and left, commended by the believers to the grace of the Lord. And just like that, one team became two. At first glance, it might feel like something broke, like something went wrong, like unity failed. But what if that's not the full picture? What if this moment, this disagreement, this separation was not the end of something good, but the beginning of something different? Because now, instead of one team traveling, there were two. Instead of one path, there were multiple. The message continued to spread. The mission didn't stop, it expanded. And that's something important to understand. God's work is not limited by human disagreement. Even when people don't see things the same way, even when relationships become strained, even when separation happens, God can still move, still work, still bring good out of it. That doesn't mean the conflict was easy. It doesn't mean the separation wasn't painful, but it does mean that it wasn't wasted. And maybe that speaks directly into your life right now. Because not all disagreements are simple. Some cut deep. Some involve people you trust, people you've walked with, people you thought would always be by your side. And when things don't work out, it can leave questions. Was it avoidable? Could it have been handled differently? Was someone right? Was someone wrong? But sometimes the answer isn't that simple. Sometimes it's not about right versus wrong. It's about different perspectives, different priorities, different ways of seeing the same situation. Paul saw risk. Barnabas saw potential. Paul saw what had happened before. Barnabas saw what could still happen. And in that tension, they couldn't move forward together, so they moved forward separately. And here's something powerful. Later in the New Testament, we see that John Mark didn't stay defined by that earlier failure. He grew. He continued in the faith. In fact, later on, Paul himself would speak positively about him, saying that Mark was helpful in ministry. That matters, because it shows that Barnabas's belief in him wasn't misplaced. Second chances mattered. Growth happened. At the same time, Paul's commitment to the mission also mattered. His focus, his discernment, his desire to protect the work, they weren't wrong either. Both paths had purpose. Both decisions played a role. And maybe that's the lesson we often miss. Not every disagreement needs a clear winner. Not every situation resolves neatly. Sometimes God works through complexity, through tension, through paths that don't look perfect. And in the middle of that, something bigger unfolds. So what does this mean for you? It means that if you're in the middle of a disagreement, you're not alone. If you've experienced a broken partnership, you're not the only one. If things didn't go the way you expected, it doesn't mean your story is over, because sometimes the direction changes, but the purpose continues. Sometimes relationships shift, but growth still happens. Sometimes separation creates space for something new to begin. That doesn't remove the pain, but it does give it meaning. And it reminds us of something important. God's plan is not fragile. It's not dependent on everything going perfectly. It's not limited by human conflict. He works through it, around it, beyond it, and even in it. Paul continued his journey, traveling through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. The mission was alive, still moving, still growing. Barnabas continued as well, investing in Mark, giving him space to grow, to rebuild, to become who he was meant to be. Two paths, one purpose. And maybe today, you're standing at a crossroads like that, facing a decision, dealing with a disagreement, feeling the weight of something that didn't turn out the way you hoped, and you're wondering, what now? Do I stop? Do I go back? Do I give up? But maybe the answer is simpler than it seems. Keep going, even if it looks different, even if it's not the path you expected, even if it means walking forward without the same people beside you, because your journey is not over, and your purpose hasn't changed. God can still use you, still guide you, still work through your life in ways you don't fully see yet. And one day, what feels like a setback might reveal itself as a turning point, a moment that redirected you, not away from purpose, but deeper into it. So don't let disagreement define you. Don't let separation stop you, and don't assume that something is broken beyond repair. Because even in Acts 15, even in the middle of conflict, God was still building something, still expanding something, still writing a story that continues today. And that same story includes you. Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke your heart, don't forget to like, follow the channel Holy Path Insights, and share this video with someone who might need encouragement today. Your support helps spread faith, hope, and truth to more people around the world.